Hello, and welcome to another episode of First, the show where I, Mark Kuznez, give you my first impressions on a game. This here episode is all about Gear.Club Unlimited 2 Ultimate Edition, the new edition, the Ultimate Edition, as they call it, that has found this game making its way to a handful of other platforms because it is evident as soon as you start playing this game of what it actually is. Almost evident. I thought it was a mobile game being ported to consoles, but it was instead, or it is instead, a Switch game getting ported to every other platform. And one could argue this is the same thing as a mobile game getting ported and all that, and if you were to make that argument, I wouldn't stop you. But this is a Switch game making its way to other consoles. And the thing is, it's not a bad game. It's not. And I'm sure on Switch, it's an amazing racer where there is far less competition. But in its venture, its travel towards new horizons by the names of PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, it stands out as a big why. Because the thing is, this 3-year-old Switch game is $40. And it looks alright. It's got a nice clean aesthetic, but it doesn't hold a candle to the cream of the crop. And while it is only $40, if you were willing to spend $40, I think you're willing to spend that additional $20 to get a much better experience in the likes of Forza, Gran Turismo, Dirt, Grid, etc. And if you want a more bite-sized, more arcadey experience, something that you can just pick up and play or whatever, there are great games that are half the price, like Horizon Chase Turbo and Hot Shot Racing, among many others. You got Hot Wheels Unleashed, which I think is $50, and it's hard to understand who Gear.Club Unlimited 2 is for at that price point. Because like I said, it's not a bad game. It feels pretty good. The visuals are solid. There are times where the lighting really looks terrible, but outside of that, and by terrible, I mean there were points, just one in particular, that really stood out where I was in a tunnel or something, and the lighting basically made my car turn into a black silhouette. And I don't mean it was just kind of oddly dark or the shading was a bit off. I mean, I couldn't see any bit of detail. It was just like it disappeared. But outside of that, it didn't look terrible. But does it look as good as your Forzas, your Gran Turismos, your Dirts, your Grids, which is definitely the type of game it is going after, more so than Horizon Chase Turbo and Hot Shot Racing, these more arcadey, stylistic games, or Art of Rally even. It's definitely trying to be more of a traditional arcadey sim racer. And it just isn't up to snuff with them. And yes, it may be only $40, it may be $20 cheaper than the full asking price of games these days. I mean, some are $70, but that's still a lot of money. Too much for a game that is still rough around the edges despite being 3 years old. And tedious in some of the ways it's designed that may feel better on the Switch if it was utilizing touch controls on there. I don't know if it was, but one thing I don't like, I initially thought, oh, this is kind of cool, this is fun, I get to have my little ownership over this, is that with your garage and how it's set up, you place your various stations in your space, and that at first seems cool. It's like, oh, I get to create it in my own image and make it feel like my own. But the coolness of that goes away quickly when you realize the way you upgrade your car is by dragging it from station to station. So if you want to, say, upgrade the tires and then the engine and the brakes, etc., you have to take it to the tire station, upgrade it there, then pick it up, drag it to the engine station, and do your upgrading there, then take it to the brake station, so on and so forth. And That becomes tedious and annoying immediately. There was no point where I thought that was cool or fun. I immediately hated it and regretted liking the garage and the way it was set up. But long story short, just to reiterate, Gear.Club Unlimited 2 is not a bad game. It's not. It's a solid game. It's just an overpriced old one. Anywho, that will do it for this here episode of First. Once again, I am Marcus, and as y'all can find me on Twitter and pretty much everywhere at PX Sausage. If you'd like to see me streaming games like Gear.Club Unlimited 2, you can do so over at twitch.tv/PX Sausage. If you aren't already doing so, please check out my videos over at the YouTube. That is, again, YouTube. Not again. I mean, I didn't say it already, but now I'm saying youtube.com/Pixelated Sausage. Please remember to like, subscribe, all that jazz. And again, that is youtube.com/Pixelated Sausage. Speaking of Pixelated Sausage, you put a little dot and a comma after that. What do you got? You got my website. You go there, you get more crap like this, as well as the art I make. And if you see something you like, you can purchase a print of the piece you fancy. And if you fancy the site in general and anything that we do, please go over to patreon.com/PXS and support us that away. As always, thank you for watching or listening. I hope you enjoyed this here episode, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. Bye!